I feel like we know, but everyone else needs to know, how did becoming come to be? Like, how did it come to life?
How did becoming become?
How did this happen? How did these tools come to you? Like, how did the practices come out of your life?
How did we get here?
How did we get here?
Yeah.
Take us on a journey of how.
Well, Scott took all the crazy things I've been writing and all the crazy things I've been
Scott, your
thinking. Scott, my husband, yeah, and actually imaged it into something physical. So really, it was an assembly or an amalgamation of spiritual practices that I collected along the way because I was addicted to the peace of God and I wanted more of God. But it really wasn't until I suffered. It wasn't until, I mean, you guys know my story, losing babies and brain tumors, and Scott was sick, and just all the pain, and even the brokenness that I had collected working with orphans all those years, and in Russia. It's like you just get to a place where you just have, it's too heavy. You carry too much, and I think there's a lot of people that are just carrying too much, you know. And so for me, when I had the stillbirth, I just wanted to know that God could heal me. And now, I wanted to apply faith. And when I read about how faith is the evidence, the substance, of hope and the unseen, I realized it's work, it's the doing, it's the walking, and I need to learn how to walk again. And so I was taking the scriptures that I believed to be true in my head, but I needed to experience them in my life. And so it really came out of that. And more specifically, I just started hearing the Lord in the morning, because I would cry out in the night and I'd hear the Lord in the morning.
Wow.
And then I would document. And I thought it was just for me. And then I started using it to teach my children. And then I started sharing with my friends. And then more friends shared with their friends. And then we started doing retreats. And here we are. Because the Smallbones got involved.
It's been really healing.
Yeah.
It's been a really helpful tool for not just us, but our whole families. Like, our Smallbone family has just received so much encouragement and healing from these very practical tools when we all work in the world of ministry and everything is, like you said, very nebulous and intangible. It's like, thank God there is something that was born out of your suffering that you have generously documented and shared as just something really step by step and on paper for us to
and so biblically sound. I mean, everything is like to the Hebrew, to the original, and it I kind of geek out. I geek out. My inner librarian is like, I'm like, yes, I want to live in wonder and imagine, and I want because God is, it actually makes your view of God so much larger than I'm going to read my Bible and it feels like this very flat place, right? And then it becomes this like 3D, 4D thing. But
to add to just the story of how this became, because I think this is one of the things that has drawn me to this work and your story and our friendship the most, is like, you're not, I know you see yourself as, you see yourself the way you see you. The way I see you is you have stormed Capitol Hill, you have created policy, you have opened doors for adoption, you are an educated woman, you went to seminary or Bible school or whatever, all the things that you have done have made this not just something that is out of opinion and out of feeling.
That's correct.
But this is an intellectual piece of work that you've left no stone unturned.
That's very true.
She did just do that. Yes, she did.
Yeah, I appreciate the detail, the historical context.
Yes.
As a student myself, recently graduated.
Yes,
come on.
I appreciate when there is sound research behind something, in addition to and in combination with life and the real suffering that you have experienced. I have told so many people about the tools that you have explained and written and offered. But I find it hard to summarize.
Yeah.
I find it hard to like take this invisible work and turn it into words. It all feels like ash in my mouth. I'm like, none of this matters. So if you were to explain it to, for example, I was talking to my friend Amanda last night, and we were celebrating my birthday around our fire pit, and you showed up, and before you came, I was telling her, I'm like, you're going to meet Kerry. This is a really special woman in my life, and she has helped me so much with just inner work and inner healing and a reconnection with the spirit, with the divine in my own heart and my own life. I don't really know how to explain what this is, but if you were to explain to Amanda now, like what this is, what words would you use? How would you describe it?
So explaining it is actually for me one of the hardest things because it's so difficult to explain for the same reason that it works for everyone in your very eclectic family, because it is as vast as all the stories that exist. It's like the word. It's because we're using the word. We're just actually taking all the scriptures, any of the scriptures, and looking to find that in our story, because that unlocks us from the places where we're trapped. We get transfixed. Transfixed means to be frozen in horror or awe, or stuck through with a sharp object. And that's what happens, we get stuck. And so becoming just helps us get unstuck. It's these different things that we took right out of the word. They're the tools of Samuel and Moses and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they each used different tools. Like Moses, he was all about remember. If you could just remember what God has done before you crossed the river, then you wouldn't be getting into so much trouble. And so we just intentionally remember. Or Gideon, God said, I'm going to do great things through you. And then Gideon said, okay, but I have a question. I have another question. And it's just allowing people in their own story to ask questions, to encourage them to ask questions. And so they're practical tools that we've taken from the scriptures that help people form their belief system. Because, in the evangelical community, feels a little bit of a pressure, and anywhere in the church, that you have to believe all of it. And so, as a kid, especially as a pastor's kid, right? Yeah. That you have to, yes, I believe the whole Bible is true. It's all true. But in your own life, you haven't experienced all those truths. So it's not experiential. So it helps the intuitive beliefs become heart beliefs. It helps you change and go from transfixed and stuck through, because you give your brokenness to God, to being transformed little by little, having these qualitative changes in your character, God's character becoming yours, to the point that you become transfigured and changed, and you've transcended out, and you're no longer stuck in despair or stuck in ugliness, but you get to forgiveness because God hasn't left you. And so I find it difficult.
I mean, I thought that was better than I could have explained
better than us.
it.
Yeah.